All right, so let's try this again. So if I want you to look at the linear experience of my situation with all of my devices. So I don't have exact times and dates. So let's just say within a 5-year span, I've contacted local authorities and federal agencies in regards to my concerns to all of my devices. In this time, I have experienced great loss and great distress to the point where suicidal thoughts, disruption of all relationships in every aspect of my life, job opportunities, really everything in my life has been affected by criminal activity as it refers to cyber terrorism and people hacking into all of my electronic devices. So in that idea, if I, in even creativity, in my experience expressing I wouldn't even say disdain, but just a disapproval of the effects of negligence over this amount of time. That is, living in the state of emotional turmoil regularly in a country that continuously promotes its greatness based on its freedom and liberty and justice, it really starts to counteract. It really starts to destroy the person. I feel completely ruined, and because of this, I look at these experiences. I called so many times, and I recorded every single the time I've called the authorities, and I've always took digital notes of the experiences and how the system of America responded to my concerns, and how I'm still really in the reality of not hearing anything back and still having to deal with the idea that I live in spaces that aren't safe. It's not safe. None of my devices are safe or secure. Even if I buy the latest form of technology, no matter what I do, it's almost as if I'm always in the crosshairs of some stalker with equipment to hack into my devices. Now, some of this can create paranoia, but either way. So Joe-Wray negligence is a form of, it's an actual experience. Joe-Wray negligence, because I call the highest levels of authority, and after doing so, these spaces really did not operate in the reality of how they promote themselves. If you're in the highest seat of authority, you have to act in accordance to what you gave your oath to as the men who sit in those seats. So Joe-Wray negligence is when the highest levels of authority act in a way where it jeopardizes the life of civilians. Joe-Wray negligence. And I don't think it's improper. I don't think that it's rude or even exaggerated. I think because the authorities minimize, lie, and deny my experiences, they just find ways to use their positions and the idea of the integrity of the country as a means to block or as a means to dissuade the actual truth of my experiences to be presented as they actually were in my linear experience. So Joe-Wray negligence is appropriate. It's proper to say that from my viewpoint as being in the experience. Now, I do meditate on these concepts, and because there is no safety as it refers to my anything that I have on any device, I always live with the idea that anything that I say or do on my devices could potentially end up anywhere in the world, and I have zero way of protecting myself. Now, after placing calls to the highest levels of authority, local and federal, and also providing and presenting all forms of information that they requested in order to assist me in my complaints. To this very day, after this long span And even as the experiences still prove to be, or even the idea that the distress is still, I still feel it every day because of there's no communication and this is what happened and this is what we're doing. It's just, it happened, deal with it. It happened, it's your fault. And I think that's the greatest negligence, because even if I purchase any phone from any company, and all the companies that I have bought a phone, I can't secure my possessions. I can't secure anything that I have. So that's the idea. I don't see Joe-Wray negligence as being something that is wrong. It's just an actual experience of an American civilian. And if an American civilian is not safe on American soil for years and there's no effort on behalf of law enforcement, I think that is the highest levels of negligence. So that's the idea of Joe-Wray negligence. And if it's offensive to the powers that be, then so be it. I think the actual truth of my experience will offend every single American. So that's the idea. I'll never deny my own experience, and I'll never feel bad for expressing my disappointment in the efforts of law enforcement. And these are the, like, there's no way to ask for help in a country that doesn't respond to a civilian. Now, I don't know if there's a confusion whether if I'm acting or if I'm actually in the linear experience of the situation. And Joe-Wray negligence is literally the idea that it's because of the highest levels of authority in the land that I say the things that I say. So I'm not acting. I didn't prank call the Federal Bureau. I literally haven't had privacy for 5 years on any device. So because of that, I express the things in which I do in creativity and in meditation. But even as creativity and meditation doesn't change the actual living experience of being an American and suffering deep distress because of the failures of law enforcement. Joe-Wray negligence is appropriate. Joe-Wray negligence is the experience of my life. And I tell the story to my kids, my grandkids, and them and those after them, because to be an American and to not have privacy and to not be secure in your possessions because of a failure of a government's ability to do their job is something that no American should ever experience. And I firmly believe that, and I believe all Americans would agree with me.